This is a Macaulay Tucker Show exclusive press junket. In this special press junket, we sit down with John Kinnane, who recently helped write the new film Solo Mio, which is a romantic comedy starring Kevin James. We also spoke with Jeffrey Azize, who served as an executive producer on this project. In this press junket, we stepped behind the scenes to learn about the inner workings of this film and to also just learn a bit about these people's experiences. Solo Mio released February 6th, 2026, and I really recommend that you go watch it because it was such a blast. Thank you. This is a very special occasion because this is my very first ever press junket after interviewing celebrities and people from the industry for the past 5 years. So I'm very excited to be sharing this moment. I had always dreamed of doing this when I was 15 years old. I'm now 20, and I'm able to finally be able to make these a reality. So I'm very happy to be sharing this moment with you guys.
Congratulations, man. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, and this project, man, oh man, I watched it a couple nights ago with my father and my brother, and we really enjoyed it. One of my favorite aspects of this film was the music. I'm
Mm.
a big music guy. I collect records. I've got one over here. And just overall, this film was amazing. And I can only imagine the hours spent making a film like this. And I wanted to start our conversation today with a very interesting question. You guys have, worked with Kevin quite a bit, and I have noticed, at least in watching your projects, that more and more, at least he begins to be playing different roles that you could say perhaps are more vulnerable. And I wanted to ask you guys, are you intentionally trying to reveal a side of him that maybe audiences haven't seen before? Or I would just love to put that out there because that's what I noticed, at least watching this film. He did such an incredible job.
Yeah,
No, it's a great question.
Well, first off, thank you for seeing the movie.
Yeah, thank you, Molly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I think honestly, you know what it was? It was when we were in lockdown with Kevin, in his garage, making these YouTube shorts during the pandemic. We just started having fun. Like we just experimented creatively together. And, it was really Kevin's idea that was like, look, he loved the sound guy idea that John and our brother Pat came up with. And he was just like, we showed him some of our ideas and he loved it. And honestly, he's like, I think also before we even met Kevin, he really wanted to kind of pivot more into like, not like dramatic or serious, but really wanted to just have more of a balance than the physical humor that he's known for and to kind of, broaden his horizons in that angle. And he was able to do it during the YouTube and obviously he crushed it because that, all those videos went viral. I mean, there was a talented team like John and all of us behind the lens, but obviously what's the most convincing part is Kevin in front of the lens. And it worked. What he was doing was working. So I want to say like playing with that and then him really enjoying that, knowing that it's working and people were receptive, was able to really translate over to the feature length.
And I liked how you highlighted kind of your experience earlier with the sound guy, those little videos. Those were certainly very funny. Speaking with my father before watching the film, I said these guys put that together, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that." And it was
Great.
kind of cool seeing a full circle moment of me watching those videos and then now watching this full length film. And
Yeah.
Kevin did an amazing job. I, as a viewer of films, I love seeing people try new things and experiment with their performances. It is
Yeah.
such a joy to see that. And one thing that we need to talk about is the marketing for this. On the side, I do a lot of social media marketing for different people. And so I know how that usually works. And the marketing for this was very unique. It actually reminded me of the marketing for a film back in 1999 that you would know, such as the Blair Witch Project. I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
spoke with a director a couple years ago when we talked about the marketing and how he told me you can't really pull that off nowadays. They did fake, social media websites, things like that. You know, that playbook worked in 1999, but people are so much more skeptical. How did you guys make them fall for this again?
I'm gonna let John speak into it because he was the brainchild behind that idea.
Um, yeah, we were just coming up with ideas for ways to promote the film and um Pat, who's one of the other writers on the film, he was like, it'd be great. We're talking about doing YouTube or YouTube stuff with Kevin, and he's like, it'd be great to get Kevin like doing something in character on his YouTube, and then I was like, oh, like he should just make his own social media account and post as Matt Taylor, the character. And I think I don't think any of us expected it to blow up the way it did, which is super surreal. And people are falling in love with the character. And, the we knew that it would get eyeballs, but we didn't know that people were gonna like,
Yeah.
fall in love with the character as much as they are. And, it's so cool just reading all the comments and, people, Matt Taylor's posting and Kevin, and people are saying like, oh, like you should go down to the coffee shop down the street and take your mind off things, and it's important for the plot. So it's super fun reading all the comments and seeing the people the reception of it.
I think, McAuley too, one of the things is like, we were on Zoom and everyone was pitching ideas, and then John had this idea, and it was, we always have like one of the things we always discuss and kind of like how we go about decision making is like the best idea wins. And John had the best idea, and like he said, you didn't know how far it was going to go, but it was the best one out of everyone else's, and yeah, it kind of hit the zeitgeist and really took off, and it ended up doing super well, in the Super Bowl as well. That was pretty big.
And you are correct. It's a brilliant idea. People are on their phones so much nowadays, and people argue it's a good thing, and people argue it's a bad thing. But it's certainly a great avenue for projects like this one to promote. And I guess you can call it experimental marketing. And I was really impressed. I've been reading comments of people saying that other filmmakers are maybe going to follow in your guys' footsteps because of this kind of idea, and it's going to be certainly exciting to see what spawns with that. My one question, I guess I didn't write this down, but from what you said earlier, I understanding how films are made. Did you guys produce separate scripts for the social media content? Because I can only imagine you guys had to connect this to the actual film, but I'd love to hear a bit more about that.
I would give the marketing team who are helping promote the movie took, loved the idea and worked alongside Kevin to produce all of those. So yeah, we had some ideas like, oh, like we wanted pinpoints of storylines we want to hit throughout the TikToks and the videos, um and yeah, I would just I would I don't know, what do you want to say?
No, well, I would say like obviously it was a great idea, right? For the marketing, for Matt Taylor creating his own account being John's idea. But it was really at that point it was passing the baton to Kevin, right? Like he's got to commit to it. He's got to now post. It's all on him. And he did. He committed as he did, and being the art teacher, and actually he painted all of those. I mean, those are his real paintings. There's nothing fake about it. Like Kevin, honestly,
I
he's
was questioning it myself because I mean we've known Kevin for what?
10 years. I mean, the thing is,
Yeah, and I was like, wait, I didn't know Kevin could paint.
Kevin, he is so talented. Like, even if he's never done something before, he will be like really good at it, and he's just gifted that way. And for him to just like paint as much as he did, as well as it came out, I mean, that was pretty insane. So I would say again, like an idea could be an idea, but if it's not totally executed, which Kevin did, I would say it would have just flatlined. But Kevin went all committed 100% into it, and thankfully so, because it worked. I think that was it was a collective, it was a collaborative experience.
It was, and you kind of answered a thing that was on my mind. I was wondering if he did the work himself, and that's really impressive. It's good to be able to be skilled in so many different areas, and I mean, you guys are a testament to that. You guys have been working together for so many years, putting together projects, and this kind of transitions to my next question. This is a very, very big film. I think roughly $4 million like film, and people were, I myself and other people have said how gorgeous this film is. So, so gorgeous. But I'd love to know, like looking at this film, what was one of the most expensive looking things that you guys couldn't afford but figured out a way around? Because I know a lot of people have tricks and stuff. Was there anything like that in this film, or would you say that it was all kind of laid back?
I would say the part near the
The
Colosseum.
Colosseum.
Yeah, we
Colosseum.
really wanted to incorporate the Colosseum, and we found out that it was going to cost $50,000 to film Kevin riding by the Colosseum on the tandem bike. So we found like a beautiful. We licensed one of those shots that we felt that matched really well.
I would say
But that, yeah.
as far as like logistics, maybe the palio, the horse racing scene in there was probably the most challenging because you had all these different contradas, that represent their colors and their flags
And it's a
and
tradition that's like, I think it's like
over a thousand.
800 years old or something.
Yeah.
I gotta get fact checked on that, but it's something ridiculous where they've been doing this twice a year, every single year for centuries. And
Yeah.
so it's such, it's so intertwined with the culture that, we had to get special permission from every single contrada. And they're, I wouldn't say that, in the horse race itself, there are rivalries, like obviously it's just a competition in
It's
a
like
race.
it's team sports only with
So,
the paleo.
but we had to get every single contrada to give us permission. And
A unanimous decision had to
yeah,
be made
so that
amongst them.
was that was another thing that was difficult. And but yeah, it worked out in the end.
And it sounds like working on a set like this requires a lot of patience. I've learned, at least from my experience, that working on films requires a lot of strong virtues, patience being one of them, because you never know what's going to happen. Things sometimes take super, super long. But with every film that you guys work on, I can only imagine that you guys take something out of it. With this project, in particular, big or small, what was something that you took away from the experience that even now, talking to me, you're like, every single day since then, I've kind of applied it, or I've taken something that I didn't really know or have experience with beforehand.
The
Yeah.
language barrier being one of them.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was also a big one. I mean, not everybody on the crew spoke English, so there was some translating that took place, and that also, kind of took time into it of the day to kind of obviously articulate sort of what you were achieving and executing for that particular scene or and relaying that to the rest of the crew. I mean, it took a little more time for the message to get across, but nonetheless, everybody made our days, and that was great. That was one of the challenges, and
And
yeah,
Nicole, I
I
mean,
was
Nicole
just gonna say,
Gramaudo, who plays Gia, she didn't speak much English at all. So we had to work with a translator on set to, Chuck and Dan, the directors, to give her notes. And she had to learn her lines, her English lines phonetically. And
Wow.
so that to us was like, we wanted this language barrier between the characters. And as soon as, she auditioned for it, as soon as we saw her, like, that's Gia, like, that's her. And I don't think we really knew that she didn't speak much English during her audition because she
yeah,
had learned the lines. And so, I remember one day on set, we were gonna try and tweak couple of the lines, and she was like very, she was very passionate about, trying to execute Gia. And and we were always like reminding her, like, don't worry about it. Like, this is what we want. We want the language barrier thing. And she kind of got really nervous because we changed the lines, and we're like, all right, we're not gonna change any more dialogue and just let her do her thing. And she's just phenomenal in the movie, I believe.
It sounds like from what from what I heard you guys say is, even with changes and kind of things coming into, the situations that might have not been expected, you have to kind of roll with the punches. You kind of have to improvise, and with that, you learn. You learn about the different things that you can do in different situations, and so that's what I appreciate. Everything that we do in life, we take away something from those experiences, such as working on set.
yeah.
My final question that I have, this is something that I was thinking about. You guys have collaborated on a lot of different projects, and all the way until you guys were like really, really young, and there's so many different moving parts. When you guys are working on a film, you're like in the editing room and you guys want to cut a scene that one of you perhaps wrote, and then another one that was also directed by one of the brothers as well. Going through all of that, do you ever have to separate brother from collaborator at any moment, or would you say that that never happens with the film, like films like these?
I
Mm.
No, it's a great question. I mean, we've definitely been in situations like that where someone is more passionate about keeping something and the majority is saying, listen, it just doesn't work. And again, best idea wins. And sometimes we tell each other, you got to just take the note. As you got to kill your darlings, right? As Sorkin says. And I think as much as you may fall in love with a particular moment or scene of the movie, if it's not pushing the story forward, if it feels like a modular scene, if it's just a scene for the sake of being a scene, you're not learning anything new or doing anything to build a world, then it's like, why is it in there, right? And I'm sure people at Pixar, their brain trust, kind of, we've adopted their motto, which is like, we try to have our own brain trust with each other. And that is like, why do we have this in the script? Why do we have this in the movie? What are we telling? What universal truth or theme are we trying to say here? We're not trying to be pretentious or anything, but you're watching a movie to be entertained and to feel something. And if you're not accomplishing that, then what is the purpose of it, right? So if we're constantly making people care about the movie every frame and step and sequence and to the end, and you remember the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie and you feel great walking out, then I think mission accomplished, but again, there's many of us to lean on each other to really press the intention and obstacle of like, and if someone has a great debate on keeping it, then we keep it. We're not yet there in our careers to have the final say. There are other people. So but the thing is, like, we talk before we present it to the person who has the final say, we have to also say, listen, it's worth keeping in. Let them tell us no, right? Let someone else tell us no. But if the majority of us believe in this scene, let's keep it in and see what happens. And most times it's gone in our favor, which is great.
And it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork environment. It's a we, our, us environment. Someone told me that a long time ago. Those environments are the best environments where you work together as a team and you go through the messy stuff, and then in the end, the project comes out. And you mentioned earlier the goal is ultimately to entertain and make people feel something. And I certainly felt that watching it. My father and my brother certainly felt that watching it as well. And I'm very happy with this project. And I can only imagine you guys are very happy to finally see this wonderful project finished, and people like us can watch it and enjoy it. And I definitely encourage those listening and watching to check out this film, because man, oh man, it's a great one. And I certainly think it will be on your mind when you watch it for days to come.